Welcome back to Inherited Dawn,
a One Piece podcast.
And today we are diving into chapter 188, Okama Kenpo.
A title that tells you exactly whose fight we're focusing on. It's direct, theatrical, and perfectly representative of the agent in question.
And what a fight it is. Oh man, this is one of those chapters that just gets me fired up. We finally get to see the weakness in a supposedly invincible devil fruit. And it's not about brute force. It's not about hockey, which we don't even really know about yet. It's about pure, unfiltered battle IQ. It's a design problem, and Sanji is the perfect engineer to solve it.
Sanji is put in an impossible position, one that attacks the very foundation of his personal code. The way he solves it is elegant.
It is perfectly Sanji. It's so cool, so smooth, and so satisfying. If you appreciate a fighter who wins with his wits just as much as his kicks, who can turn a beatdown into a data gathering session, you should probably be subscribed to this channel. We break down this kind of strategic brilliance every single week.
But let's start not with the fight, but with the princess, because Vivi is about to make a choice that will echo for generations, a choice that solidifies the very reason her family is revered.
Right. So we open on the palace grounds in Alabasta. The civil war is at a fever pitch. People are dying in the streets, cannonballs are flying, and Vivi has this look on her face. This look of absolute, terrifying resolve. You can see she's aged 10 years in the last 10 minutes.
She's standing before the palace, this magnificent structure, and she sees it not as a home, but as a target. It's the focal point of the battle. The rebels are trying to take it. The royal army is trying to defend it. It has become the symbol of the very division she's trying to heal.
It's the ultimate prize in this twisted game Crocodile has set up. Whoever holds the palace wins the war, right? So the fighting just gets more and more desperate around it. It's a magnet for death.
She turns to Chaka and the royal guard with her plan. To stop the fighting, to get everyone's attention, they need to do something drastic. They need to remove the prize from the board entirely.
And how do you do that in the middle of a war? You can't just shout over the cannon fire. Luffy tried that in Drum Island and it barely worked. You have to do something so unthinkable that everyone on both sides is forced to stop and look.
So she gives the order. Destroy the palace.
The 4,000-year-old palace, the symbol of her entire family line, the legacy of the Nefertari kings and queens. I mean, can you even imagine? That building has seen everything. It stood longer than most nations in the world have even existed. And she says, blow it up. The soldiers are just frozen. They can't process the words. It's like being told to burn your own flag, but 1,000 times worse.
And Chaka hesitates, which is completely understandable. He is one of the two guardian deities of Alabasta. His entire life, his very purpose is tied to protecting that family and that structure. It's against every fiber of his being. He would rather die 1,000 times over than land a single scratch on those walls.
But then he looks at Vivi. He doesn't just see a scared kid making a wild suggestion. He sees the same conviction we see. He sees a leader willing to sacrifice her own heritage for the sake of her people's future, and he gets it. He bows his head and tells every man there to follow her command without question.
In that moment, he recognizes her as the true leader, not just a princess giving a suggestion, but the ruler of the country making a hard choice. His bow isn't just a sign of respect, it's a transfer of command. He's publicly ceding his authority as the acting commander of the royal guard to her. He's telling every man there, she is your queen. Her word is law.
That's it right there. That's the moment. This isn't just a desperate ploy. This is Vivi taking the full weight of her legacy, of thousands of years of Nefertari history, and saying, my people are worth more than our monuments. It's the ultimate statement.
It connects directly back to why the Nefertari family is so special, something the story has been building since we first learned their name. They were one of the 20 royal families who founded the world government 800 years ago. They had the opportunity to ascend to the Holy Land.
To become celestial dragons, exactly. They could have had it all, power, prestige, living like gods in Mary Joa. But they said no. They chose to stay and rule their land, to live and die with their people. This act, destroying the palace, is the
ultimate modern-day expression of that original creed. Cobra would be so proud.
He would, because destroying the palace to save the people isn't an act of destruction. It's an act of preservation. She's preserving the soul of Alabasta, not the stones. A kingdom, as Dr. Correja once said, is its people. Vivi understands this on a level that most rulers never have to. She's willing to erase her past to guarantee her country has a future.
And Chaka's loyalty here is just phenomenal. It's not blind obedience. It's loyalty based on understanding and respect. He doesn't just agree. He fully submits to her authority in front of everyone. He solidifies her position as the commander. He understands that this is her war to lead now. Pell would have done the same. These guys aren't just bodyguards. They are true knights of the realm.
It's a huge moment of growth for both of them. Vivi steps into her power, and Chaka proves his loyalty is to the spirit of the crown, the will of the people, not just the physical symbol of it. A lesson that many in the world government, and certainly the celestial dragons, have long forgotten.
Okay, so from that incredibly heavy strategic decision, that macro-level choice about the fate of a nation, we cut to an incredibly personal, brutal one-on-one fight. We're back with Sanji and Mr. Two Bon Clay.
And the scene opens with Sanji on the ground, beaten. Mr. Two is standing over him, wearing Nami's face, taunting him. The contrast is immediate and jarring. We go from a princess saving her country to a cook getting his face kicked in.
Mr. Two is telling him he's not so tough, that he's all talk, and Sanji's just lying there, thinking to himself that even with that face, it's still an Okama on the inside. He's trying to get his head in the game, trying to separate the image from the reality.
But he can't. His chivalric code is too deeply ingrained. He tries to get up, tells Mr. Two not to get cocky, but then he looks up at Nami's face and he just melts. The art here is perfect. He gets these big, goofy hearts in his eyes, and all the fight just drains out of him.
His chivalry is a weapon being used against him, and it is so frustrating to watch, because we know how strong Sanji is. We saw him take down Kudo Obi underwater at Arlong Park. We saw him outsmart Crocodile himself at Rain Dinners. He could end this, but he's completely paralyzed by his own code. It's like trying to fight with your hands tied behind your back.
Mr. Two then takes it a step further, twisting the knife with theatrical glee. He starts taking off his coat, saying it's too hot, all while wearing Nami's face and affecting a feminine posture. And Sanji, the ever-gallant gentleman, immediately offers to help her.
And gets a kick right to the jaw for his trouble. Bam! It's just devastating. Mr. Two lands a brutal hit with his Okama Kenpo, and Sanji can do nothing about it. It's almost comical if it weren't for so painful to see our boy getting worked over like this.
Every time Sanji gets ready to counterattack, to finally fight back, Mr. Two just touches his cheek and boom, he's Nami again. And Sanji freezes. His hands and feet are tied by his own principles. Mr. Two has found the perfect counter, not to Sanji's fighting style, but to Sanji himself.
Oda is just twisting the knife here. It's the perfect counter to Sanji's entire fighting style and his core beliefs. It's not about being stronger or faster. It's a direct psychological assault. It's a hack. Mr. Two found the one cheat code that works on Sanji, and he's spamming it over and over.
And it highlights a key aspect of Baroque works. Their methods are always insidious. They're an organization of assassins, not warriors. They don't just fight you, they exploit your weaknesses, your emotions, your loyalties. It's a recurring theme with all the officer agents.
Yeah, it's never a straight-up honorable duel with these guys. Mr. One was a living weapon, literally made of blades. Miss Doublefinger used spikes that grew from her body. Mr. Three used his wax to immobilize and suffocate. Mr. Five was a walking bomb, and Mr. Two uses your own heart against you. It's all about finding the most devious path to victory.
He even uses an attack called the mascara boomerang.
The what now? Come on, that can't be real.
Oh, it is. I believe they're the sharp attachments on his swan-themed shoes, which he kicks off like projectiles. They seem to slice right into Sanji's jacket. It's ridiculous, theatrical, and flamboyant, but it's also effective. It's another small cut, another bit of damage that adds up.
He's just chipping Sanji down, piece by piece, while Sanji can't even bring himself to fight back. This is what makes Mr. 2 such a dangerous agent. It's not just about his own power, which is considerable. It's about how he nullifies yours. He's found a perfect defense that is also a perfect offense, all without having to be physically stronger than Sanji.
But then, the tide begins to turn. And it turns not because Sanji gets a sudden power-up, but because his opponent gets arrogant. Mr. 2 is gloating, preparing to land the finishing blow.
And in that moment of arrogance, in that split second where he's savoring his victory, he forgets to keep up the charade. He has his own face. He's just Bon Clay, ready to deliver a final dramatic kick.
Sanji sees it. He's on the ground, beaten and bruised, but his eyes are sharp. It's a split second, but it's enough. It's the opening he's been waiting for, the one piece of data he needed.
And he just explodes off the ground with a massive kick that sends Mr. 2 flying. The relief in that moment, the catharsis, it's like, yes, finally! Sanji is finally back in the fight. He connects clean, and for the first time, Mr. 2 is the one on the defensive.
And this is where Sanji's intelligence really shines. He doesn't just celebrate the hit. He doesn't just rush in for another. He stops. He analyzes. He starts talking, not to taunt, but to confirm his hypothesis.
He points it out. He calls Mr. 2's whole game into question. He says, "I've noticed something." Chills, man. Absolute chills. He's not just a cook who kicks. He's a damn strategist.
He lays out his first deduction. Mr. 2 cannot use his Okama Kenpo while he's transformed. To use his own martial arts, his powerful kicks and balletic movements, he has to be himself. The Nami face is a perfect shield, but he can't attack from behind it with his own style.
That's the first crack in the armor. The power is absolute, but it comes with a condition. He can look like Nami, or he can fight like Bon Clay, but he can't do both at the same time. That's a huge piece of intel. It changes the entire dynamic of the fight.
It does. It turns an unbeatable opponent into a puzzle to be solved. And Sanji isn't done. He has a second, even more critical piece of information.
He also points out the other thing he noticed, the physical Tao. When you change your face back to your own, you always touch your face with your left hand. The switch has a trigger, a consistent, predictable physical trigger. Mr. 2 may not even be aware he does it, but it's a subconscious tick tied to his devil fruit ability. The clone fruit requires physical contact to copy a face, so it makes sense it would require contact to switch.
This is what separates the monster trio from everyone else. It's not just about strength. It's about processing information under extreme pressure. Sanji took a beating, a serious one, but the whole time his brain was working, looking for the pattern. He was letting himself get hit to gather more data points. It's insane.
It's a classic devil fruit weakness, not something grand like water or sea prism stone, but a simple built-in rule of the power itself. Every fruit has its own internal logic, its own set of limitations and conditions. Kaido has to be in his dragon form to use his blast breath. Sugar has to physically touch someone to turn them into a toy. And Bon Clay has to touch his face with his left hand. Sanji just figured this one out.
It reminds me of Luffy figuring out Crocodile's weakness to water. It wasn't about punching harder, it was about thinking smarter. Luffy used his own blood at first. That's quick thinking. This is Sanji's version of that. This is his moment to prove his strategic mind is just as deadly as his legs.
Mr. 2 dismisses it, of course. He laughs it off. He acts like knowing the trick doesn't matter, that his superior Okama Kenpo will win the day regardless.
He attacks again with this spinning kick, the Prima, and it is no joke. Sanji dodges, but the attack punches a perfectly clean hole through a building behind him. It's a testament to the raw power Mr. 2 possesses. He's not a weakling hiding behind a gimmick.
The power is real. Knowing the weakness doesn't make the opponent any less dangerous. A gun is still deadly even if you know how the trigger works. Sanji still has to contend with a fighter who can kick holes through stone.
But Sanji's already a step ahead. He saw the attack, he processed its trajectory and power, and he's already formulating the counter. He's in the zone now. The fight has shifted from a desperate struggle for survival to a chess match, and Sanji sees the whole board.
Mr. 2 goes for it again, a flurry of powerful kicks, but Sanji dodges with absolute precision. He's flowing. He's not just reacting anymore, he's anticipating.
So what does Mr. 2 do? He panics. His main offensive isn't working, so he goes back to his trump card. He touches his face, turns back to Nami, and strikes a pose. He thinks the game can just reset. He thinks Sanji's brain will just short-circuit again.
But Sanji is done playing. The data gathering phase is over. It's time to implement the solution. He just says it so calmly, so coolly. Hey, there's something on your left cheek.
It's so simple, it's brilliant. It's not an attack. It's not a threat. It's a simple conversational statement. He's not trying to fight the transformation. He's triggering it himself. He's hijacking his opponent's ability.
And Mr. 2 falls for it. It's pure instinct. It's a Pavlovian response. He hears something is on his face, so he reaches up with his left hand to touch his left cheek, and poof, he's Bon Clay again. He played himself.
And Sanji was waiting the moment the transformation happened. The moment Mr. 2 was himself again, and therefore vulnerable, Sanji was already in motion.
Bro, the setup was just perfect. It was a masterpiece of combat engineering. The kick that follows, the Vo shot, is just beautiful. It lands with so much force, so much built-up frustration and strategic satisfaction. It's not just a kick, it's the period at the end of a very complex sentence. He didn't just beat Mr. 2, he completely outthought him. Super!
He used his opponent's own power mechanism against him. He turned the key to Mr. 2's greatest strength into the trigger for his defeat. It's the equivalent of talking a bomb into diffusing itself.
And it proves that Sanji's weakness isn't a weakness at all. It's his identity. He'd rather lose a fight, maybe even die, than betray his principles and strike a woman. But because he's also brilliant, because he's a straw hat, he found a third option. He found a way to win without compromising a single thing about who he is. That's true strength.
It really is. He didn't have to change himself to win. He just had to be smarter than the person trying to exploit him. It's a defining victory for Sanji, establishing him not just as a powerhouse, but as the crew's premier strategist and tactician.
You know, it's moments of pure strategic genius like Sanji's that make rereading these chapters so rewarding. You see all the little clues Oda lays down. If you've got a favorite moment of Straw Hat battle IQ, drop it in the comments. Was it Luffy using the golden ball against Enel? Zoro figuring out Mr. 1? We'd love to see which fights really stick with you all.
Now, for predictions. Where do we go from here, Franky? Sanji's fight is over. The board has changed.
Okay, prediction 1, we are definitely checking in on Usopp and Chopper next. Their fight against Mr. 4 and Miss Merry Christmas is the last of the major agent matchups that's still unresolved. We've seen them getting dragged around and beaten up for a while now. I think the next chapter is their turn to shine. We're going to see some peak Usopp trickery combined with Chopper's Rumble Ball transformations. It's not going to be a power fight. It's going to be a wacky, smart underdog victory.
A tactical fight, then. That makes sense, given the opponents. Mr. 4 is all brute force, so a direct confrontation is unwise.
Exactly. And for my second prediction, we're going to see the immediate aftermath of Vivi's order. The next chapter will open with a cannon shot, maybe one of the Royal Army's own cannons, turning and firing on the palace. The explosion will be massive, iconic, and for at least a few moments, the fighting across Alubarna is going to stop as every single soldier, rebel and royal alike, turns to stare in disbelief. It will work, at least temporarily.
A moment of silence in the storm. I like that. My turn. Go for it. My first prediction is that we will see Crocodile's reaction to the palace explosion, but it won't be anger or frustration. He'll find it amusing. He'll be watching from somewhere, perhaps with Miss All Sunday, and he'll see it as the desperate final act of a dying kingdom. It'll just make him smile because he believes his own plan with the citywide bomb is so far beyond anything they can do to stop him. To him, it's a child knocking over the chessboard when they've already lost.
That is chilling and 100% in character for him. That smug, overconfident bastard. What's your second?
We'll get a brief glimpse of Luffy. Not the start of his fight, not a major scene, just a check-in. We'll see him finally arriving at the palace grounds, completely unaware of what Vivi just ordered. Maybe he's pushing past some final low-level Baroque works agents or confused royal guards. It'll just reestablish his position on the board, a single-minded force of nature moving inexorably towards his target, right as the symbol of that target is blown to smithereens.
The eye of the hurricane just moving steadily towards his goal. I love it. He's going to get there, see the palace as a wreck, and just be like, anyway, where's Crocodile?
We'll have to see.
We will indeed. Thanks for listening, everyone. This has been Inherited Dawn. Join us next time for chapter 189, and we'll see whose predictions came true.
Until then, keep an eye on the details. You never know what you might uncover.